The Honeyguide and the Honey Badger. Somewhere in the African bush right now, a small olive-brown bird is trying to convince a 60-pound predator to commit assault on a hive of bees. And it's working. The greater honeyguide can find bee colonies easily, but it can't crack one open. It has the beak of a robin and the appetite of an addict for wax and bee larvae. So it figured out a workaround. Find something with claws, talk it into the violence, eat the leftovers. The bird makes a specific chattering "follow me" call, then flies tree to tree, leading a honey badger straight to the colony. The badger does the demolition work, the bees lose, and the honey guide eats afterward. Here's where it gets stranger. Humans in Mozambique have a specific call back to the bird, a brrrhm noise, and the bird responds to it like a dialect, with documented success rates over 70%. A bird that learned to give directions to a different species in 2 languages. Most people think the honeyguide is doing this out of some interspecies kindness. It isn't. The bird can't open a hive itself and would starve trying. The relationship is pure leverage dressed up as cooperation. 1 bird, 6 ounces. 1 badger, 20 pounds. A colony with 60,000 bees inside. Without the partnership, every party loses. Trust, but only because nobody else can reach the larva. It's the worst roommate ad ever written, and somehow it works. The crocodile and the Egyptian plover. A Nile crocodile can crush a wildebeest's skull. Now picture a bird the size of a sandwich standing inside that crocodile's open mouth, calmly picking meat out from between its teeth. That's the story anyway. The Egyptian plover, also called the crocodile bird, supposedly wades into the open jaws of a basking Nile crocodile and bills out leeches, parasites, and stuck food. Herodotus wrote about it in the 5th century BC. 2,500 years later, we still can't get a clean shot of it on camera. Here's the part that breaks every nature documentary you've ever seen. The croc never closes its mouth while the bird works. The biology lines up, the basking posture with the jaws cranked open is real and documented. What's not documented is the actual cleaning. A bird with a dental practice inside an apex predator should be the most filmed sequence in nature, and it just isn't. Despite the name in textbooks for centuries, the cleaning relationship has never been conclusively recorded. Turns out, the story is older than the evidence. A Nile crocodile carries a bite force north of 3,700 psi. A plover weighs about 3 ounces. The croc holds back 500 pounds of pressure on purpose every time, assuming any of this happens at all. Maybe trust isn't the right word. Maybe it's just 2 animals who figured out the math. The clownfish and the sea anemone. Everything in the reef knows that touching an anemone gets you paralyzed and digested. Everything. Except the clownfish, which moves directly into the tentacles and then never leaves. The clownfish doesn't outrun the stings. It does something stranger. It lies to them. Anemone tentacles fire stinging cells called nematocysts when something protein-coded as "not me" brushes against them. The clownfish coats itself in a mucus layer that kinically reads as anemone, as part of the body, as not food. In return for the apartment, the clownfish lures larger reef fish into the tentacles for the anemone to eat. Here's the part that breaks reality. The mucus coating isn't something the clownfish is born with. The fish rolls in the tentacles deliberately, for hours, getting stung over and over until its biological signature flips and the anemone stops recognizing it as prey. Imagine moving in with someone who tries to kill you for the first 3 days and then forgets to. If you're enjoying this kind of animal deep dive, I post stuff like this regularly. Subscribing really helps. Thanks. The goby and the pistol shrimp. There's a shrimp on the reef right now digging an elaborate burrow it will spend its entire life maintaining. And the shrimp is blind. Not partially, fully. The reef is full of things that eat blind digging shrimp. Without the partnership, the shrimp dies in a week. Here's the part no one explains. The shrimp keeps a claw on the fish at all times. It feels every twitch in real time. The pistol shrimp does the construction, an elaborate sand burrow with multiple chambers, while a small goby sits at the entrance scanning for predators. The shrimp keeps one antenna in constant contact with the goby's tail, and the fish flicks specific signals for different threat types. Small movement is ignore, A sharp flick is incoming. The shrimp pays in real estate. The fish pays in eyes. Neither one signed anything. And this is where it gets wild. The pistol shrimp has one of the most powerful punches in the ocean. Its snap creates a bubble that hits 200 decibels and reaches near sun surface temperatures for a microsecond. One snap moves water at over 60 miles per hour, briefly hits 4,700 degrees Fahrenheit, and the animal doing it sees nothing. Most people who hear about this assume the shrimp went blind because of the partnership. Turns out it was blind first. The goby is essentially hired vision after the fact. The fish keeps watch. The shrimp keeps digging. Neither one of them knows what rent is, and they're paying it anyway. The coyote and the badger. Somewhere in Wyoming right now, a coyote and an American badger are trotting across short grass together. The footage looks wrong until you know the context. A coyote will kill a lone badger pup if it gets the chance. A badger will gut a lone coyote in a confrontation. They put it aside to catch a single ground squirrel. The footage shows them playing first, actually playing, before they start hunting. The math is brutal. The coyote chases prairie dogs and ground squirrels above ground. The badger digs them out from below. The squirrel pops out one end, gets caught by whichever predator isn't underground at that moment. A Yellowstone study tracked coyote-badger hunting pairs and found a roughly 30% jump in catch rate compared to either animal hunting alone. A coyote tops out around 50 pounds. A badger is around 20 pounds, but built like a small bulldozer with steak knives attached. Together, they cover above and below ground at the same time. The contract's short: catch the squirrel, split nothing, walk away. Selection rewarded individual animals capable of suppressing the kill or be killed instinct when the prey was more valuable than the rivalry. The bond doesn't generalize to friendship. They have meetings, but they're not friends. Cooperation, it turns out, doesn't care if you like each other. The oxpecker and the rhino. A white rhinoceros can weigh 5,000 pounds and has skin folds full of ticks, blood-feeding flies, and parasites it physically can't reach. The bird needs protein. The arrangement looks obvious. It's also not exactly what it seems. Red-billed oxpeckers cling to large African mammals, sometimes spending nearly the entire day on a single host. They eat ticks, flies, mucus, dandruff, earwax, and dead skin. Watch the bird long enough, and it doesn't just eat ticks. It picks at open wounds. Some studies show the oxpeckers actually keep wounds open to keep drinking the blood, which extends healing time. The cleaner reputation is partly marketing. Most people think the oxpecker is purely helping. Turns out, it prefers wounds and earwax over ticks when given the choice. A red-billed oxpecker weighs under 2 ounces. A white rhinoceros tops 5,000 pounds. The ratio is roughly 40,000 to 1, and the bird is the boss of grooming. One rhino can carry up to 10 oxpeckers at once. The birds sleep on the host, mate on the host, and in some cases, stay near the same individual host for years. It's a bird with a full-time job inside a rhino's ear. There's still real value in the deal. The birds give loud alarm calls when humans approach, which is exactly the thing rhinos most need warning about right now. The rhino thinks it has a cleaner. It actually has a parasite with benefits. Drongo and the meerkat. A meerkat colony in the Kalahari depends on accurate alarm calls. The Drongo gives them. Mostly. Here's where the partnership cracks. The bird is a liar, and it knows it. Fork-tailed Drongos hang around meerkat colonies and give real alarm calls when actual predators show up, building credibility. About a quarter of the time, the Drongo makes fake alarm calls when a meerkat catches something good. The meerkat drops the scorpion or lizard and flees. The Drongo swoops in and steals the meal. It lies to them, and they keep showing up. The trick has another layer. Drongos can mimic the alarm calls of more than 50 other species, including the meerkat's own. When the meerkats stop falling for the Drongo's voice, the bird switches to imitating a different alarm caller the meerkats still trust. It's one of the cleanest documented cases of tactical deception by a wild bird. Deliberately false signals that adjust based on the audience's response. A bird with a literal con. The contract is honored most of the time. That's the deal. 23% dishonesty rate, and the meerkats still take the call, because the other 77% is the only reason any of them survived the morning. The cleaner wrasse and the reef predator. There's a 4-inch fish on the reef right now, climbing inside the mouth of a 200-pound grouper, and the grouper is waiting in line behind a moray eel to be next. Some clients are so loyal, they wait in line for over 2 hours. Blue streak cleaner wrasse maintain cleaning stations at specific spots on the reef. They perform a distinctive bobbing dance to advertise the service. Predators including moray eels, groupers, and reef sharks pull up to the station and hold position with their mouths open, while the wrasse picks parasites, dead skin, and food debris from teeth, gills, and gum lines. A dentist that also walks into your mouth. Some cleaner wrasse personally service the same grouper for years. A blue streak cleaner wrasse maxes out at 4 inches. A potato grouper hits over 200 pounds. The grouper opens its mouth and the wrasse walks in like it owns the place. That cleaning station isn't a peace zone. Turns out predators are doing pure cost benefit. The wrasse is worth more alive than as one bite of food, so the wrasse stays alive. Predators that ate cleaner wrasse died of parasite loads faster than predators that tolerated them. The do not eat rule got selected in until it became the default response. Scientists watched this for years before they realized the predators weren't being polite. The job description is the only thing keeping anyone alive. The remora and the shark. There's a fish about 3 feet long stuck to the side of a 40-foot whale shark right now, getting pulled through open ocean without moving a fin. The remora can swim. It just decided not to. It would rather hitchhike on the most dangerous thing in the water. The remora's dorsal fin isn't a fin anymore. It became something else. The top of a remora's head has a flat suction disc, a modified dorsal fin with movable plates called lamellae that create a vacuum strong enough to hold against the drag of a whale shark moving at full speed. Researchers measured suction force per square inch that beats most industrial clamps. It eats parasites off the shark, food scraps from the shark's kills, and the shark's own feces. In return, the shark gets a parasite cleaner, and effectively zero downside. A fish with a parking brake on its head. The remora is about 3 feet long. A whale shark is over 40 feet. The remora hangs on like a magnet through migration spanning hundreds of miles. The freeloader assumption is the obvious one, but the remora does clean its host, so the arrangement is closer to mutualism than a one-way ride. The dorsal fin slowly flattened, segmented, and turned into a clamp. There's no other vertebrate that converted a fin into a hardware store suction cup. The remora has free food, free travel, and a bodyguard the size of a school bus. It's not the loser in this arrangement. The cone ant and the harvester ant. We thought we knew every kind of ant mutualism. Then Arizona handed us this one in 2026. Here's what the Arizona team actually filmed. Smaller ants grooming bigger ants in shifts, on schedule, on purpose. A study published last year documented cone ants regularly entering harvester ant colonies, grooming the larger harvester ants, removing parasitic mites and debris, and getting fed scraps from food storage in exchange. 2 completely different ant species running a service for rent deal. Most people think different ant species can only be enemies, parasites, or slave takers. Turns out at least one pair set up a working contract, and we just confirmed it. A cone ant weighs around 2 milligrams. A harvester ant tops out around 12 milligrams. The relationship survives the size gap, and the cone ants do the cleaning anyway. The paper estimates over 400 grooming sessions per colony per day during peak season. The cone ants' grooming behavior reduces mite loads measurably for the harvester colony. The harvester ants tolerate them because eviction costs more than sharing scraps. We've been studying ants for 200 years and still finding new contracts. It's the deal we just found, and the one we still don't fully understand. Every other section in this video took us decades to confirm. This one took until last year. The deal is older than the science. It always is. If you made it this far, I post new animal deep dives every week. Hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.